We're going to talk about wisdom today. So right off the bat, I'm going to have you open up your Bibles to Proverbs 9:10.
What one was it, Jacob?
Proverbs 9:10. Okay, is pretty much everyone there? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." So, basically what we're going to look at, if we want to be wise, it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So, we need to break this down and really think about, like, what is the fear of the Lord? And, you know, whenever you hear that a lot in church, like, the fear of the Lord, and whenever I was a little kid, I was always thinking, like, are we supposed to be, like, afraid of God? I thought God loved us. Should we, like, run and hide? But when I was looking into this, it's talking more about, like, respect. And it says God is like a father figure to us. So I was thinking how it is when it says the fear of the Lord, it's meaning more of, like, how you would respect your parents. So say, like, your little brother comes into your room after school and he's like, hey, do your homework. You'd be like, no. But if your dad comes in your room and he's like, hey, you need to do your homework, you'd be like, okay. And you'd run and hurry and do it. And that's kind of what the fear of the Lord is. It's like respect like that. And so the next part of that verse is wisdom. And so we really need to find out what is wisdom, because we all want to be wise, but that means different things to different people. So I was going to ask you guys, like, what are your ideas of what wisdom is? Anyone got a definition?
Like life lessons kind of stuff.
Yeah?
Like old people have a lot of wisdom.
Applied knowledge.
Good. Okay, so when I was looking into this, I found lots of different definitions from different people, and even from, like, different religions, and everyone had their own different idea. But looking into the Bible, the best thing I could find is wisdom is insight that helps us make the right decisions. And so all wisdom really is insight, and insight can be lots of different things. Like, you'll be walking through the store and you'll see a magazine and it's like, what to wear this season. It's like, that's insight on what to wear. But that's a form of wisdom. But there's lots of different things you'll see everywhere. Wisdom is just out in the open. In Proverbs 1:20 through 21. It says, out in the open, wisdom calls aloud. She raises her voice in the public square. On top of the wall, she cries out. At the city gate, she makes her speech. And so when I was reading this, that showed me, like, wisdom really is everywhere. And it's not like you're just, if you're not looking for wisdom, wisdom's looking for you, you know? Like, wherever you go, you're going to see wisdom. You're going to be driving down the street and you're going to see a billboard and it's going to be like, blah, 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 you know? Like, it always, there'll be Bible verses, or I know there's different billboards in town that tell you different things. But, yeah, wisdom's everywhere. And there's two kinds of wisdom. There's the world's wisdom, and then there's God's wisdom. And the world's wisdom is like the kind of, like what I was saying earlier, like the magazines, like that's going to be a worldly wisdom thing. And just different things that people say, like, you're going to look on the internet and you're going to find big long things about, like, how to be happy and stuff, and that's like the world's version of wisdom. And, you know, that's not always right. Like, the world's wisdom often will lead you astray. But at the same time, there's God's wisdom, and God's wisdom is true wisdom because God is wise, and He is the wisest. And so we can find that in the Bible and from wise people who, like, have really studied the Bible, and you can even just pray to God and ask Him for wisdom. It says in James 1:5 that anyone who asks for wisdom from God will receive it if they ask with faith. So as long as that you have faith that God's going to give you wisdom, then you'll have it. Whenever I was looking into this, I looked at Proverbs because Proverbs is known to be a book of wisdom. And King Solomon, when he was only 16, he became the wisest person to ever have lived because he asked God for wisdom. And, normally when you're thinking of a wise person, you're thinking of, like Gandalf or something with, like, a stick and a long beard. Or someone, like, old, usually like that, who's had lots of life experience. But, like, anyone can be wise. Solomon was just, like, a 16-year-old kid. And then God's like, here, have all the wisdom you could ever want. And that's another thing about, like, how God gives wisdom. God has so much wisdom, it's not like he doesn't want to give it away, because he wants us to be wise. And he has so much of it, it's not like you're, like, taking from his reserves. And when I think about it, I think about my friend Caleb in Monette. He works at Krispy Kreme, and at the end of the day, they always have, like, a ton of leftover donuts. And they always just have to throw them away. And there's this guy that comes in the back every day, and he's like, hey, you want to give me all those leftover donuts? And he's like, well, yeah, I want to, because I don't want to throw them away, because that's such a waste. So he gives them as much as he wants, because they have a ton. And that's how I think God gives wisdom. It's like he has all this wisdom, and he just doesn't want it to go to waste. He's looking for people to ask for it. And another thing about wisdom is wisdom's not like a hereditary thing. Like, people can be born strong or born, like, to be good at math or something like that. There's families that, like, everyone in the family is, like, super good at math, or they're super good at reading, or blah, 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 like, all those different things. But wisdom comes from God, and so anyone can be wise. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. You could be super stupid and then ask God for wisdom and receive it and become really wise. And, everyone wants to be wise, so we should do that. I guess that's all I have.